Well, I never thought I'd make a tank build for a Warlock, but here we are. Heads up everybody, my name is SentinelGray and welcome to the channel. Yeah, Warlocks being tanky are probably the last thing you'll think about in this game, and I thought so too until I started playing with this build. This build was specifically brought up in one of my streams recently whenever I was using an exotic that you'll see here. By the way, if you want to stop by my streams, I stream every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Most of the time it's a lot easier to answer any questions that you or anybody else may have because I have the game right in front of me to show you. Anyway, back when I was messing with this thing, it took some trial and error and talking to a few other people that I know, but I finally got the build for the Shadebinder Warlock that is not only powerful, but effective and fun as hell to play. I'll be explaining two versions of this build. One is the standard edition that'll work no matter what, and the other is the deluxe edition that has a little bit more detail in it. Let's start where I started with this build though. Frost Pulse and Vesper of Radius. Frost Pulse is a fragment for the Warlock Shadebinder that freezes the enemies around you when you lay down your Rift class ability. And Vesper of Radius emits an arc pulse when you lay down your Rift as well. So in case you don't know how they work together, whenever you lay down your Rift, Frost Pulse kicks in and freezes everything around you. Next, Vesper of Radius shatters everything that it can and also damages everything. That's part one of this build. The other part is all the different aspects and fragments you're going to need to have equipped. Other than Frost Pulse, the other aspect you're going to want for the Shadebinder Warlock is Ice Flare Bolts, so that whenever you shatter a stasis enemy, a stasis seeker tracks and freezes a nearby enemy that's around. As for the fragments, we're going to need Whisper of Refraction, defeating a slowed or frozen enemy grants you class ability energy. Whisper of Torment, you gain grenade energy for each time you take damage from an enemy. Whisper of Shards, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate, and shattering additional crystals refreshes how long this applies, which is 10 seconds. And Whisper of Chains, while you're near frozen enemies or friendly stasis crystals, you take reduced damage from enemies. The whole idea for this build is to get up close and personal with every enemy you come across. Since this build has Whisper of Shards and Chains in it, you'll be wanting to run the Glacier Grenade, since it's the only thing in the Shadebinder's arsenal that can actually produce stasis crystals. Not only that, but since we turned your Rift from a support ability into a damage dealing ability, you can use everything you brought with you to dish out damage to anyone who might try and look at you sideways. Now what's all going on when you use this build to the fullest? Using my Rift, I freeze and shatter nearby enemies, which means that every enemy I kill this way, I get Rift energy back. Now I throw my Glacier Grenade to freeze a couple of enemies that are a little ways away. I break one of the stasis crystals I make, which gives me that bonus energy regen for my grenade, but also because I killed a frozen enemy with the crystal breaking, I get back class energy. Let's just say during this time, I'm going to start taking a bit of damage. Well, because of Whisper of Chains, I take reduced damage, and I think the last time I checked, it's like a 50% damage reduction, I think, which can absolutely save your life whenever you're close to those stasis crystals. Most of the time while I use this build, I can change my grenade and class ability together and use them one after another. And to add to it even more, if you're using a healing Rift instead of an empowering Rift, you'll be able to keep yourself alive through almost anything. Slap a weapon on that has Wellspring and you get all of your abilities back even faster. Now for the Deluxe Edition. That build is going to work perfectly well for you as is. That means you don't have to get crazy with armor mods or anything like that for it to be viable. However, that doesn't mean I haven't thought about using armor mods. Now, like I said before, this build is going to be a tank. So if you want to make this thing even more of a tank than it already is, we're going to need to add protective light to the mix. So if your health dips down below, like into your actual health instead of your shields, it can kick in and give you a 50% damage reduction. And unlike Whisper of Chains, you don't have to be anywhere near a stasis crystal for it to work.
But Gray, we need to be charged with light for that to happen, don't we?
You're right, Blueberry. So how should we solve this? Well, the easiest option for you might be taking charge, so that whenever you pick up an orb of power, you gain a stack of charge with light. But I'm going to have to pass on that one. Instead, we're going to further help your ability energy regens while also getting you charged up all at the same time. Enter Elemental Well mods. What we'll need here is Elemental Ordnance and Elemental Charge, both. Elemental Ordnance makes an Elemental Well spawn if you get a kill with your grenade. Now, I know that sounds sketch because Glacier Grenade doesn't really do much killing. Hell, none of the stasis grenades do. But this effect still applies if you kill an enemy with the stasis crystal explosion from your grenade. See how that works? As for Elemental Charge, as long as you pick up an Elemental Well, you become stacked with a Charge of Light. If you pick up a well that matches your subclass, you gain 2 stacks of Charge with Light. Since you've been fighting and picking up a few wells that you've created, and since those wells match your subclass, you gain energy to all of your abilities, plus the double Charge with Light stack due to Elemental Charge. Now, whenever you get in a pinch and Protective Light kicks in, it consumes all of your stacks of Charge with Light. Luckily, since you have 2 stacks, your 50% damage reduction lasts for a solid 10 seconds, meaning every stack of Charge with Light is a 5-second protection window. So if you ever wanted to play a tanky Warlock, that is how you make a tanky Warlock. Like I said in the beginning though, this build is fun as hell to play and I hope you play it for yourself. I also hope that you hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you all next time. And remember, keep your heads up and be kind to each other. Bye now.